The title of this project is Using Various Formats to Process and Present Information. There are standards that will be covered in this assignment. Common Core standards are the standards that our teachers use when they're creating lessons for their classes, and the AASL standards are the standards for school librarians. The Common Core standards that we're going to be using are integration of knowledge and ideas, which allow students to integrate information presented in different media or formats. They also get to trace and evaluate the argument of specific claims in text. They also compare and contrast information. The AASL standards that align directly with the Common Core standards are 1.1.6 through 2.2.3. And these standards are directly related to the Common Core standards. They are also directly related to Big Six. Who we're going to actually do this assignment with will be all of the ELA students in 6th grade. Where? We'll do it here at Murphy Middle School. When? The assignment will actually take place in during the students' ELA class, and it'll actually take place in the Media Center. Why are we doing this assignment? To help achieve our school's goals and to facilitate the implementation of the Common Core. And how are we going to do this? We're going to do it by researching and creating a presentation on an important person in American history. The plan of action is for researchers to come to the school library with their teacher to conduct the research. They will actually be using iPads, laptops, printed materials, and other resources that are available in the school library for this project. The teacher and I will actually assist students with the researching of various people or information that's needed. The students will collect that information and evaluate it from the resources and information and determine what information they're actually going to use for the project. The groups of students will also have the opportunity to select a Web 2.02 to complete their project in. However, if they are not comfortable with selecting that tool at that time, they can actually select it at the end of the process once they gather all of their information and determine, what it is that they have and determine how they're going to put it all together. The groups of students can also use printed materials, videos, audio clips, and any resources that are available in the Media Center for their presentation. They can also use any resources that they find online or, in another database. They can use any of those materials. For our task, we're going to identify what materials are going to be used. We'll review and ask students specific questions as it relates to the assignment. We'll also ask questions to check prior knowledge on the topic to see if students have actually done something similar to this particular project. We'll actually state the objective of the task, let students know what we're doing and why we're doing it. And we'll also let them know what Big Six is and why it's important in the educational process or the learning process. A very important step to Big Six is information seeking strategies. It's important that students know how to obtain information and where they can actually find that information. So our students are going to actually review the task. We'll review that task with them again. We'll give them input and model how to obtain appropriate information. Students will get a chance to go through the guided practice with us as far as looking for information, how to do it, and then we'll allow students to work independently. As far as the location and access and information, that is also very important whenever you're doing a research project. Our students will use the internet to search for information. We're going to tell them it's important to narrow it down to keyword searches. Students will also use various search engines and databases to actually do the research. They will view and select printed materials, books, magazines, any resources we have in the Media Center to actually support what they're doing. Students will evaluate the sites that they're pulling information from, gather all the information from their project, and students will also use this link below, which is a Web 2.0 tools that can be used for their presentation. This link was actually created in Symbaloo, and it's a mixer that has various Web 2.0 tools attached to it. For use of information, students will use a graphic organizer, which is below, to gather all the information that they found from printed sources, printed materials, from internet sources, or whatever resources they've used to collect their information. It is important that students know that the graphic organizer can be used to take notes. They can paraphrase, and we encourage students to make sure they paraphrase the information and do not plagiarize or take information from a source without citing that particular source. The next step of the process is the synthesis process, and the teacher and I will actually do a demonstration where we will actually show students a jigsaw puzzle and show them how the jigsaw puzzle is like research. We will also ask them questions like, is there a logical way to go about putting one of these puzzles together? You know, the research process, you have to think about how everything kind of fits together and how it all works together. Students will have all of the pieces, or should have all the pieces, and we'll just let them know that now it's time to put everything together. The last step of the process is the evaluation process, and we'll actually have two steps for our evaluation process. We'll have an oral evaluation, which is going to be done whole group, where we will just talk to students about each step of the Big Six, and the students will answer the question, what is the name of the first step, or what is the name of the second step, and then they'll have the opportunity to tell us what did they do to demonstrate that particular step. So we'll do that for all steps of the process, and then we'll also do a written and visual evaluation where we'll evaluate the students' graphic organizers that they turn in to see what kind of information they collected and where they pull that information from, what type of sources. Students will also be evaluated on how well they present the information and what information is presented, and they will evaluate the students' final presentation with a task rubric that is going to be created to support the project.